President Barack Obama delivers his State of the Union address. We have the latest straight ahead, and Hurricane Sandy is about to go into the record books as one of the costliest storms in U.S. history.
And there's a little more snow in the forecast. I'm meteorologist Dan Bronis, and I'll have those details coming up.
I'm Amanda Decker. Your news at 10 on WBIN starts right now. Thanks for joining us for your news at 10 on WBIN. President Barack Obama challenges Congress to join him in igniting the growth of a rising, thriving middle class in the first State of the Union speech of his second term. He's emphasizing economic growth and job creation and helping everyone move forward no matter who they are.
It is our unfinished task to restore the basic bargain that built this country. The idea that if you work hard and meet your responsibilities, you can get ahead. No matter where you come from, no matter what you look like or who you love.
This is his fourth State of the Union address. Analysts say it's a crucial moment and sets the tone for the upcoming years after 4 years of partisan division. Well, local and national Republican leaders have criticized Congresswoman Annie Kuster for failing to pay her property taxes for the past 3 years. As WBIN's Martin Morenz tells us, her delinquent tax problems have opened the door for potential challengers.
Congresswoman Annie Kuster has apologized for her failure to pay $40,000 in back property taxes for 3 years on a vacation house in the White Mountains and her house in Hopkinton. Now a national Republican campaign committee mocks Kuster with her own campaign ad from last year.
This is what lobbyist Annie Kuster said when she was running for Congress.
That's him.
No, not that.
Congress is living by their own set of rules.
But after just 1 month, she fits right in.
You know, people understand if you go behind once or twice, you miss a payment here and there. People can understand that, but over the course of 3 years, every 6 months, continuously late, not a good thing.
With word of Annie Kuster's tax problems, former Nashua State Senator Gary Lambert joined former House Speaker Bill O'Brien by announcing they are both thinking about running against Representative Annie Kuster in 2014.
I'm a small business owner. I pay my taxes on time, I pay my bills on time, and I know what it's like to make payroll and to make budget at home, in my family, as well as work.
So what's the word on the street among voters regarding Representative Kuster's taxes?
Yeah, it seems like a long time to go without paying your property taxes. And it would seem like it'd be a good idea for her to ante up along with the rest of us.
What's your thought on Annie Kuster after that?
I would vote for her, yes, definitely.
Meanwhile, emails and press releases have been flying out of New Hampshire Republican Party headquarters on Kuster's tax problems. They claim Kuster is trying to raise taxes when she can't even take care of her own. In Concord, New Hampshire, I'm Martin Morenz for WBIN.
Two controversial voting measures came before the New Hampshire House Election Committee today. A bill to restore straight ticket voting was tabled by a unanimous bipartisan vote. It was eliminated in 2007 by the Senate. Representatives Democrat Melanie Levesque and Republican Sean Jasper say it's confusing and discourages voters from getting to know the candidates. A public hearing was also held to repeal parts of the new voter ID law, which passed in the previous session.
It will require polling locations to have cameras, printers, printing materials there at a great cost to the state. We actually feel these provisions are extremely costly. It's over $347,000 according to the fiscal note provided by the Secretary of State just for the camera provision alone. And we just feel that during this time that money could be better used on other public policies for the state of New Hampshire.
House Minority Leader Gene Chandler criticized the repeal effort, saying the legislation hasn't even had an opportunity to prove its effectiveness. The law would go into effect in September. The Granite State's Site Evaluation Committee rejects a proposed wind farm in Antrim. WBIN's Garrett Berger explains what was behind that decision.
The State Site Evaluation Committee voted 6-3 Thursday to reject Eolian Renewable Energy's plan for a 10-turbine ridge-lined wind farm because of its visual impact.
And the town is really divided on this, and we're hoping at this point that the town can go forward and really appreciate. I mean, we have some wonderful natural scenic beauty here.
The committee's legal counsel, Mike Icapino, said in a phone interview the committee had had concerns about the setting of the project, the scale of the proposed 500-foot turbines, the 2 visual impact studies, and the photo simulations of the project. Some of the decision, he said, was based on the project's proximity to Willard Pond and the New Hampshire Audubon Society's sanctuary. Some residents had other concerns not directly addressed by the committee's decision: sound, health, financial aspects, or jurisdiction over the project. But they agreed with the committee's ultimate ruling.
And their sense was that this was not the proper project for the site. And I think that's fair.
Icapino stressed the decision was based on the project's merits, not that of wind energy as a whole. Aeolian or another developer could propose a different project and start the process over. Aeolian also has the option to appeal. Aeolian CEO Jack Kenworthy said the company would like to move forward with the project, but must wait until it sees the written order of the committee's decision before determining how to do so. In Antrim, I'm Garrett Berger for WBIN.
All right, thanks, Garrett. Our mild weather continues. Dan Bronis is joining us now in the Weather Center with the first look at our forecast this evening. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Amanda. Another warm one outside today. Temperatures above normal into the 40s. 44 Boston, 43 Portsmouth, upper 30s Laconia and Worcester, and 42 today out in Manchester. Look at how warm it was in Hyannis. 47, almost 50 tomorrow. Some temperatures could actually cross that 50 degrees mark as we're going to be warm once again. Nothing happened in satellite radar. A few clouds out there. We should go mostly clear later on tonight. That will allow those temperatures to drop. Cooler than last night, but still above average. 24, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning with sunshine in Manchester. 37 by noon, 37, 5 o'clock. A little cooler than today, but still above average. A few clouds increasing that could lead to a little bit of snow overnight tomorrow. More details coming up. Amanda?
All right, thanks, Dan. Superstorm Sandy is going into the record books. The National Hurricane Center says the storm is expected to become the second costliest tropical cyclone in the nation's history, just behind Hurricane Katrina in 2005. Sandy was blamed for 72 deaths in the United States, making it the deadliest cyclone outside of the southern states in 40 years. Damage in New Hampshire from the storm is estimated at around $3.9 million. Smaller, lighter, and more powerful. Those are 3 things nobody wanted to hear about the nuclear bomb North Korea says it exploded on Tuesday. The nuclear test comes exactly 2 months after North Korea successfully launched another rocket. The United States says the rocket was really a test of a long-range missile that analysts say could reach Los Angeles. A smaller, lighter bomb moves Pyongyang one step closer to putting the nuke and the rocket together. Meanwhile, North Korean Ambassador Shin Son-ho did not speak today as he pushed his way through a crowd of reporters in New York. President Barack Obama and the State Department are calling the test, quote, a highly provocative act.
For the past year, all of us have been sending signals, including China, to the new leadership in the DPRK, leadership that's now more than a year old, that there is another set of choices that could be made. And if they want to end their isolation, if they want to meet the needs of their people, if they want to have a different relationship with the international community, that there's a path for that. And it starts with implementing their obligations.
The latest test was the first carried out under the secret of nation's young leader, Kim Jong-un. It threatens to undermine an already fragile security situation in the region. Former Republican Senator Chuck Hagel has cleared a key Senate hurdle in his quest to become defense secretary. The Senate Armed Services Committee narrowly voted along party lines to move Hagel's nomination forward. He's come under fire by the GOP on a number of issues, including American foreign policy in the Middle East. The full Democrat-controlled Senate is expected to vote and confirm Hagel later this week. If confirmed, Hagel succeeds Leon Panetta as the Pentagon chief. The Senate has voted 78-22 to renew the Violence Against Women Act with support from both Democrats and Republicans. The bill provides support to domestic violence victims and toughens sentences for stalking under federal law. It was first passed in 1994, but expired in 2011 after a failed bill to reauthorize it. It still needs approval from the Republican-led House of Representatives. Well, for the town of Merrimack, it's been a losing battle for over 25 years to have the tolls removed from the Everett Turnpike. Legislation has failed each year in the House, but today, for the first time ever, the Senate considered legislation sponsored by Senate President Republican Peter Bragdon and fellow Republican Senator Chuck Morse. The proposed bill would bring equity to Merrimack residents who say they've paid disproportionate toll rates for far too long.
If you're going to have a system that's paid by user fees, you need to make sure that those user fees are assessed fairly. People living in Nashua and Hudson, surrounding towns, can traverse the entire city of Nashua, 9 miles, 8 exits for free, all the way to the Mass border. People in Manchester and Litchfield can travel 20 miles across the river to the Mass border for free. People in Merrimack have to pay a toll to go a few miles down the town.
I don't know what rocket scientist designed the airport access roads to come in just before the tolls. It hasn't been helpful, and it's caused a lot of problems. And the main thing is the system is unfair. Either you have everybody pay a toll or you have nobody pay a toll. At this point, it's getting to be crazy.
As expected, the Department of Transportation testified against the bill, citing $2.7 million in net revenue for 2011 and 2012. They say it's money that will pose a long-term negative impact to the turnpike system. Well, heated moments as the new head of the Senate Budget Committee places blame on the GOP for our nation's financial troubles, and Standard & Poor's plans to fight a lawsuit brought forth by the United States Justice Department.